Beautiful brothers and sisters and bringers of change. I'm Geeia, Ariati. I've been assigned the role of Oracle for the 144. I am of sound heart and sound mind. So this is going to be an uncomfortable, reactive video, I'm sure, for anyone who chooses to listen, but those that are still in choosing this construct for their own safety and to avoid the uncomfortable aspects of self where they have met energies that are not of God in the name of their own journey of change. And so we are speaking specifically into a post that was posted on my wall around the goddess Kali, not being purified and being careful of who you're in devotion to. Now, I have a very strong ability through my channel to feel the high level of source truth and resonance with anything that I put my focus attention on, anywhere I place my energy. And what this is like is it's like a lie detector, basically. My body will tell me if something is true or false and distorted, and where it's actually sitting in consciousness beyond word. And we are looking at the energy of some of the dark feminine deities or goddesses. And the reason that I want to speak to this is because it's very prevalent and will be very prevalent not only in the multidimensional realms, but this is going to be very prevalent in your human experience. And if you are dancing in the realms of spirituality, you are going to find that these energies are going to fire up in a way that you haven't noticed or seen them before. And this is because a dark femme deity is on borrowed power. So we'll use Goddess Kali for an example. And and if you are on this transmission, I'd like you to really use your own discernment, your own body's wisdom, and your own feeling as to this frequency, to open and invite what I'm speaking to really show you how your body responds to some of the things that I'm saying, so you know for yourself what feels true. It is not about me telling you what is right, what is wrong, and what is of purity and what is of a density. It is me about educating and speaking from a place of source in the guidance that is for those to choose for themselves, and always in sovereignty. The energies of, say, if we feel into the energy frequency of Conduit. Now, you're not just thinking of the energy of Conduit, you're feeling her. You're inviting her presence into your space. You're feeling your cells, your atoms, your molecules. You're feeling the presence of what her spirit essence feels like. What does Conduit's spirit essence feel like? How do you vibrate? What does your heart do? What does your mind do? What does your frequency do when you connect with a being such as her? What do you become aware of? She has an extremely purified, saintly, ascended, high frequency. She works directly with source. And you would notice, if you've ever read or spoken or communicated, that her words and the way that she speaks of change and transformation does not ever involve the harm or intent to hurt another. in the destruction and the transformation phases. Yes, these are parts of life. Destruction, transformation, the rebirth or the death cycle is a part of life. But in Source eyes, it is never, ever reprimandable or justifiable to kill in the name of protection or change. That is a false narrative and an illusion to keep us holding on to one of the 7 deadly sins of wrath. This is an ego construct. The ego constructs and the 7 deadly sins were created by those that are from the descended expressions of the underworld. They are fragments that have stayed intact and kept these control structures, not only in our own internal narratives, but in our external reality. Now, releasing the energy of Kuan Yin from the space. And now, I'm not going to call in or invoke Kali because that's not something that I would do. That would be death. That would be a duty of care that I have over anyone who watches this video. But what I will say is, from a distance, sense her and bring awareness to the energy representation that she is. From afar, you are not inviting her into your space. You are not inviting an energy frequency that is not aligned with Source. I am not allowing. That is a firm boundary. Holding a protective field, but being aware of what this frequency is. Now, feel the difference of how your body feels when you feel a deity and an awareness around someone like Kuan Yin to someone like the goddess Kali. Do not invite her into your energy field, because how the dark feminine works is very covertly. If you give a dark feminine goddess or deity an invitation, you have allowed them into their realms of trickery, haunting, their ability to taunt you with their song. These dark energy frequencies of goddesses that do exist are of beings that chose to give up their spark of light for power. They are not connected to Source. A full dark feminine attribute of a energy frequency does not have an essence connected to Source. They have fully decided to give up an exchange to making a deal with the devil, per se. This energy means that these beings, and if you've had altercations with them or if you're working with them, you are involved in the same trickery that they use. And they are borrowing energy. It's very different to the dark masculine patriarchal energy that we see. We're very educated in that. We can say that from a human lens. Everyone knows what an overt narcissist is, but how many of you know what a covert narcissist is? When I started coaching and working with men, I was absolutely mind blown at that point in my journey of the women and what they were doing to the men that I was coaching. I was shocked at the behavior and things that to them were funny. This is where the feeding and the play in Satanism comes out. There is an aspect of getting off, and I will use that word because that's what it is. It's seductive and seducing. Getting off on causing trouble, getting off on causing pain, getting off on doing something that is quite malicious. Now, I know a lot of men that will listen to this will have a story, their own story of the dark feminine in their life. These are the women that are bipolar, and they're tethering between their dark consciousness and their light consciousness, and they haven't decided or chosen. But what happens when someone chooses? You can be a being that chooses source, or you can be a being that chooses the dark, not of God. That is the truth. That is the reality we are in. And you are about to see it in your face in ways that are going to be extremely confronting. And these frequencies of beings, what they do is they feed off you, the succubus. There's a feeding of life force for power. There is siphoning. There is a seduction where you get weaved in a web of not just story, but you get weaved in a web of spells. You get weaved in a web of connecting their hooks, cords, and threads into your energy field and sucking your energy dry as their way to be powerful. Now, this is an important piece for a lot of women that are in spirituality and personal growth and consciousness, and I'm talking to many women that are in a space of recognizing that there is an aspect of their life where they feel that they are lacking or in scarcity. Now, we know that light and dark coexist, right? So when you have the highlight, you're going to have the dark. This is just how it works. We have it within until we illuminate. Now, that's another confusion, is illumination means that you transcend light and dark. Before fragmentation, divine feminine was neither light nor dark. Divine feminine just was. It was the holistic expression of that frequency. There was no fragmentation. There was no light side, nor no dark side. There just was. That took place here on Earth, where things and different practices cause the essence of consciousness to fragment and to create division and separation of the feminine energy. And so, whilst we continue to have a light feminine and a dark feminine, we're playing into polarity, and we're playing into false light matrices, and then we're playing into satanic demonic energies. And it may be uncomfortable for you, but that is the truth. That truth is, if you want to be a divine feminine pillar, you need to transcend both of these dynamics. Whilst we are confused by this, we are entrapped by it. So these dark feminine deities or goddesses, how they work is they use your power for their success, for their abundance, and they sip. It's like literally, they're sipping off of you. They're feeding off of you. Now, to make sense of what I'm saying, you really do need to feel what I'm saying, to interpret the energy signatures of these beings. In Source eyes, there truly is never a point that using violence and taking the life of another in defense or in a justification, such as a goddess like Kali, the destroyer in the name of mother and child, that's murder. That's murder. Look at some of these texts that you're reading and be very aware of what you're reading and how you're manipulating your mind. How is murder ever justifiable? Is it? If you tune into your heart space, then you really feel into that place. Is that justifiable? My heart says no. My heart knows that when you connect to Source, you are always safe, you are always guided, you are always protected, and there's no need for physical harm to protect yourself because you've chosen the almighty protector of the creator of all things. And so what you're going to become very aware of is that from the multi-dimensional realms is the dark masculine, and the patriarchal energy has gone through a mass purification over the last 18 months. And now we are going through the mass purification of the dark feminine and the manipulations of Satanism in that form. And that is something that our beautiful human reality has hidden very well. The rise of the feminine. We can look at the toxic femininity and the way that the feminine movement has gone into the way they speak about man is one example. Women's work. I do not say this from a place of judgment. I say this from witness and from the circles, and not all. I will never say that all things are one signature because that's not true. There are beautiful, honoring, amazing spaces where your shadow is welcome and you are still going through a purification process. To be pure doesn't mean that you are free of shadow consciousness or unconsciousness at all. When I use the word pure, it means that your heart is pure and you still have spark of source light. Purity means that you still have a connection to God. Kali does not have a connection to God. Look at her soul. Don't invite her into your space. Don't play with these energies, because you will very quickly be weaved into their web and their song spells. And what they do is they will feed in a way. If you stripped back a being that doesn't have a source spark, where does power come from? Energy. Source light is energy. Without chi, you are nothing. Without energy, without the cultivation of Kundalini in its truest expression, you don't have power at all. So these beings are borrowing power from beings like myself, like you, that do have source light. By getting their hooks, cords, siphoning tubes, their spells, and all their different ways of leaking your energy out through the points of your field where you don't trust yourself, where you don't hold your own pillar in strength with source, where you soften into the trickery, where you get weaved into the web because you are not here in your own autonomy. And this is extremely seductive. And there are some big players that have this frequency that you are all mesmerized by because they are sexy, they are playful, and there is a mystery because they're hiding who they are. You get curious. Are we starting to make sense of what I'm saying through the feeling of what I'm saying? So these different frequencies are going through a massive witness. When I spoke into the Galactic trials the other week, we are still moving through those. We are now moving through the main players that have created crimes against humanity, that have tricked you, manipulated you, and stolen and taken from you. The dark feminine will move through a process of being realized. Now, how you can help and assist so that we are not under the clutches. I know dark feminine well. I can play it without hurting you. That these frequencies are going to be seen within you. You are going to witness where you have held these frequencies, where you have used your own fragmentation. And it's okay because we've all had it. We've all had a dark feminine. We've all had a dark masculine. We've all had the light. We've all had the aspects of fragmentation within our psyche. It's not that I'm speaking to. We need to see this about ourselves if we're really truly choosing the Christos and the crystalline energy and to come unified in truth with Source. We have to see these parts. We have to take ownership. We have to notice where we have been in separation from Source and take accountability and choose that it hurts too much. And I don't want to be that because that doesn't feel aligned with my sacred heart. That's a part of the journey. The part of the journey is, oh yeah, okay, I was vampiring off this person. I was feeding off this person because I felt that if I didn't feed, I wouldn't feel love and I wouldn't feel whole. And seeing where is my seductress at play? Where do I seduce people to get my needs met because I'm too afraid to ask for my needs to be met? Because I don't know how to be vulnerable enough to say that I'm struggling. Can you please help me? Learning these archetypal energies for man and for woman, if you're truly choosing the path of transcendence and truth, will be very beneficial for you in your internal reality and your external. Because if you're not looking at your own dark feminine attributes, you will bring one of these beings into your reality to show you. And dancing with these beings is chaos. This is where men's houses get burnt down. Guitar strings get cut up. Clothes get cut up and thrown off balconies. This is psychosis and psychotic behavior at its finest. This is where you have a being go into complete demonic expression and then turn around and be like, I love you. It's gaslighting, it's confusing, and it's trickery. And it's important to see this about yourself, otherwise you will get caught and go on a journey into the underworld. Trust me, they aren't the most fun initiations. But we will learn how we need to learn. So in this moment, how are you going to start to see where you play into this frequency? Where do you seduce? Or where do you like to be seduced? And why do you like to be seduced? Does it make you feel important, validated, needed? Do you like being fed off because it gives you purpose? What is your story and narrative? Do you give your power up in these situations to this energy? And are you seduced by this frequency because you don't want to rise? There is so much that is not spoken about in this frequency, and it is riddled through our spiritual communities, because guess what? Spiritual communities are mostly still in the state of woman. So the dark femme and the light femme are at play. It's like demons and angels dancing, if you could see beyond the human. And it's about merging and seeing the truth of the angelics, because angels are often quite distorted in their healing. They are self-sacrificial, they self-abandon, they are just as confused. So this is not about right and wrong, but this is about recognizing, what do you want to be involved in? Because the reason that most women don't step out of woman's work and most priestesses don't evolve into high priestesses is because they stay in the womb distortion of false power. They stay in their succubus, they stay in their seductress, they stay in that place where they get to draw off other people's power source. Why would you want to descend into your root chakra when you can stay powerful? Because your root chakra is where you see the foundations of the false identity that you've created and the fact that you feel extremely unsafe in your body in this reality. And so you go from a place of power and dancing and weaving magic in all of the different womby expressions into the pits of hell of your own psyche. And most people don't want to do that. That's hard work. Consciousness is not love and light. It's truth. It's hard fucking work. And that is why this distortion sits there, is because to choose your highest monadic self, to choose your highest frequency, to anchor and be the light of your spirit essence, you have to go into the root chakra. There's absolutely no way around it. And if you avoid the root chakra, your root chakra becomes the feeding cesspit for the underworld. And the amount of technology, tubes, I'm just going to say this for your educational purposes. There are snake pits down in the underworld where people's genitals are connected to. Where if you have challenges with your ability to keep your cock hard, that you're probably being fed off. If you have challenges with imbalances in your yonis, bacteria and flora, it's because your body's telling you something. There's trauma, and if you have mass amounts of trauma and you haven't allowed yourself to look at it, you are hooked into, fed off, and there are parasites all through your body. This is why you need to look at your dark feminine. This is why you need to recognize your dark masculine, because you're feeding the very thing that you don't want to look at. You're allowing it to continue. This is accountability, self-responsibility. It's not fun. but it is worth it. Because when you clear the root chakra and you release yourself from the lower realms of 2 and 1-dimensional consciousness, you're no longer at the effect of them, and they cannot control you. And you can hold your anchor, you can be the light, and you can command your space. And this is where the aspect of where light and dark always coexist is an illusion. Because when you command your space and you illuminate yourself, you illuminate beyond these energy signatures, and you actually come into a place where you connect with other beings that are choosing to be illuminated and in source. And you no longer have to be initiated through the contrast of this behavior, of your own trauma playing out in front of you. You get an opportunity to just be in the ease and grace of what Source provides, the abundance, the prosperity, and the natural success of being your authentic nature. So I absolutely know what I'm saying is the truth. And anyone that disagrees with me is absolutely fine. You can put your opinions there and you can argue back and blue with me. But I know, because I've seen, I've danced, I've been, not only externally but internally. I have met my demons. I have looked them in the eyes and I have chosen God. And I have cried, screamed, purged, vomited every aspect of satanic energy out of this vessel. Because I won't choose to play into it. I won't be that. And I won't allow that to continue in the reality that I'm creating and the new earth that is coming and landing in. And I will do whatever it takes to call those out and allow for divine justice for those that are not willing to meet themselves, because it is a breach of universal law. And most of you don't know that I am assigned to being a representative of this. If you've worked with me, you would have probably seen aspects of this. It is my responsibility in the position that I hold to find witness, because without witness, it doesn't exist, for the natural course of God's law to play out. Because Earth is a free will zone. And we have sovereign choice, and we have been conditioned to believe that we don't, and we are tricked into giving our sovereignty up. And that is not allowed anymore. And so over the next 3 months, you will be reclaiming your sovereignty. If you have these energies feeding off you and you're well aware of it from this transmission, you might feel points of your body that are painful. You might recognize that your chi and your energy systems are low. You might notice that there's someone that keeps coming into your field and you feel a sense of being drained afterwards. You might notice that you have curses, contracts, and spells that have taken your abundance, your success, all attributes of what you have as a whole being. A sovereign being has all things. If there's a part of your life that you're in scarcity, it's because it's not in your experience. Where is it? Where did you give it up? Where was it taken, or where was it stolen? And look at why. That's the work. If it doesn't exist in your reality, that's why. And so reclaim through declarations. I declare in the name of God, Source Creator, that I no longer allow for any being or any consciousness to feed off me, to infiltrate my field, to manipulate my consciousness. that I reclaim all soul fragments, that I return my heart chi, my solar plexus creation center, that my womb will not create for another, that I reclaim all attributes of who I be, and that I declare that it is not welcome for any other being to take from me. In the name of God, and in the name of free will, sovereign choice, the law of one, I return all back to me. It is done, it is done, it is done. And say these statements. You don't need to go through the field if you don't have this ability and reclaim. You declare it and you know it and you make that command in God's name. You banish out the energies that you do not desire to dance with any longer in yourself and in your world. Because you can cast these frequencies out in yourself. There is a few ways you can say. You can sit with yourself and you can chant things like, I am God and God is me. 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 And anything that has made its way into your auric field and anything that sits within your frequency has to start releasing. Choose a statement that you can say that is hard to say, but you can still say it and you can feel yourselves realigning to that. And then place protection fields around yourself. Because the chaos is about to begin, my beautiful friends. I love you.